A very good evening to all the faculties, students who have joined in for today's session. As I see the participants are joining in, let us wait for another 10 minutes and then begin the session. Until then, I request all the students, faculties to give a gentle reminder to their students. I would again request the participants, students, faculties to give a gentle reminder to their students to join in quickly so that we will begin the session in some time. Amar, hope the guests have joined in.
Yes, they're in.
Okay. A very good evening to one and all those who are present today, faculties, HODs, principals, dignitaries who are supporting constantly the students in student development program. So I welcome you all for today's insightful and highly anticipated student development program. Kindly allow me to present my screen. So XLR is proudly brought to you this student development program on ACE coding interviews, DSA mastery with Java, where post completion of this training, 15 days of training, the participants will be honored with a certificate. So it is starting today. The classes will be regularly from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the next 15 days, Monday to Friday. All those who have joined in and those who have not joined in, I request you to quickly join in and take up the session, because in some time we will also be providing you with the login credentials where Mr. Amar from the training delivery team, he will guide you through the LMS portal. So on that note, let me begin by briefly introducing you to XLR. XLR, founded in 2013 by IIM ISB alumni, headquartered in USA, close to 7,50,000 plus students and professionals trained. We not only cater to the requirements of students from universities, institutions, but also to corporates. And we provide training programs on the customized level for the faculties and students who approach us on the various emerging technologies. Our associations, premium association with IIT Roorkee, Skill Up, APSSDC, APSHE, TASK, KMDC, IIT Madras, NASCOM Future Skills, BITS Pilani, has constantly made us strong through our student development and faculty development programs in connecting various institutions and universities. We have been twice awarded by Deloitte, Silicon India Training Institute of the Year, PMP Training Institutes 2018 for our exemplary work in our training journey. To give a quick snapshot on our training excellence, so far we have trained 65,000 plus engineering and degree faculties, conducted webinar, seminar, workshops across India, close to 500 plus, largely trained students on the student development program through our XLR's initiative, Everyday Learning, close to 7,50,000 plus on 30 plus emerging technology, that is technical courses. During this journey, we have largely catered to the requirements of universities close to 2,000 plus by signing MOU, supporting them through various category of programs. During this journey, we have also been strongly had a very good placement partner, close to 5,000 plus. So through our everyday learning program, our XLR's initiative and the objective and focus is mainly in providing students with application oriented training, hands-on training on the trending technologies, and to support the colleges while they have this NAC NBA requirements. So through our training programs, the colleges or the universities sign in MOU, and constantly we approach them for collaboration for the student development program, faculty development program, and all our training programs happen through the LMS portal, Learning Management System tool. And this LMS tool has close to all the training programs, that is whatever training programs we run through, the learner will get the login credentials the moment he joins in XLR. The best part of this is the students will get an experience to not only to the signed in program, but also the other category of programs which he has not explored. So there will be recorded videos, self-paced modules on various category of programs, assignments, assessments, yesteryear papers, which will be available, question banks, which will help them to crack interview, job interview, prepare them for the aptitude, logical reasoning, verbal ability, and various other the technical, non-technical courses. So this is how our LMS would look like. You would be given more insight about the LMS in some time. And as I told you, if you enroll for today's program, you will be able to see across the other category of programs which we have had in the past, and as well that which is upcoming. So to give a glimpse of our so far SDP travel student development program, so far we have conducted is close to 47 plus. Total number of hours delivered is 1,100 129 plus, where again, I would like to highlight it that we have so far trained the students close to 7,50,000 plus. During this journey, are consistently, we have seen the colleges participating close to 1,600 plus in all our SDPs and FDPs. On a demand from the universities and colleges, we have a list of programs which is being requested by the universities and institutions like DSA for campus placement, ChatGPT, generative AI, advanced Excel, Salesforce, Python SQL, ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, mobile app development with Flutter, cracking coding interviews, full stack development, various other. Similarly, I would like to give a glimpse of FDP so far conducted, 40 plus. Delivered hours is 415. Total number of enrollments for the FDP is 65,000 plus. Constantly 1,519 colleges have been participated largely in the FDPs, which we conduct every month. And popular programs or the on-demand faculty development programs are these, where it is on AI and generative AI, FDP on machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, data analytics using Power BI, Tableau, data analytics, cybersecurity, NLP, and various other training programs. As and when there's a requirement on conducting seminar, webinar, we also do cater to those requirements from the colleges. So far 500 plus, where 50,000 plus participants have attended the webinars which we have provided. So a student or a learner who enrolls for a student development program or a faculty development program will be honored with the certificates which are showcased here. So these are some of our past events which we have conducted with our signed colleges, MOU signed colleges. And these are the types of certificate which the participants or the learners were honored. Here, especially, I would like to highlight on the iHub Divya Sampark certificate, which was given. Maybe in the next few minutes, I would be able to discuss about the CSR activity. It's an initiative of XLR in collaboration with iHub Divya Sampark, which I would like to give you those things. These are some of our recent engagements where the research scholars and the faculties from IIT Roorkee had participated, and we had provided them a training on data analytics using Minitab tool. This is on Power BI training at BITS Pilani, Hyderabad, where it is a student initiative, students approach to learn more about this. This is a CSR activity, which is an initiative by XLR in collaboration with iHub Divya Sampark, where we curated a 240 plus hours of CRT training program to support the final year engineering students with placement assistance, and where close to 50,000 plus registrations happened for this program. And since the certification was little strict in terms of looking into their attendance, assignments, assessments, only 5,200 students had cleared it, and they were honored with a certificate. And it was on a 5 subject module, that is coding skills, quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, verbal ability, soft skills, resume, tips and techniques to ace the group discussion, personal interview was given. And this is also available in our platform, LMS platform, where the students who, again, like again and again, they'll be able to go through these videos to prepare themselves for the upcoming placement opportunities. So post completion of the Skill Up final year program, the students who participated were honored with iHub Divya Sampark certificate, which was in collaboration with IIT Roorkee and Government of India, Department of Science and Technology. So we had the maximum registrations from Andhra. So this is a few glimpse of the same. 10,000, close to 10,150 engineering students attended this Skill Up final year program. These are some of the SDPs and FDPs which we had conducted in the past, in the month of March and April. And now Without much further ado, let me introduce to today's student development program on ACE coding interviews, DSA mastery with Java. So before which, I would like to honor the distinguished guests who are here for today. So I would like to firstly call upon Dr. T. John Peter, Professor and Head of Department, Sambram Institute of Technology. Dr. T. John Peter, who is a professor and HOD of CSE, holds 30 plus years of teaching and research experience, and his expertise is in data mining, analytics, and machine learning. A hearty welcome to you, sir.
Good evening, madam. Thank you very much. Just a small update. I am Dr. Balakrishnan and I am representing Sambram Institute of Technology today. The reason being, HOD is still on the way to his home. He has got stuck in rain and is traveling. So that is the reason he has deputed me to represent our department and college today. I am Dr. K. Balakrishnan.
Absolutely fine, sir. Thank you so much to represent yourself on behalf of him. And over to you,
Thank
sir.
you.
You can just take over.
Yeah, very, very good evening, one and all. Uh, First of all, I am very glad that Sambram Institute of Technology, Department of Computer Science and Engineering has associated with XLR in this wonderful STP titled Mastering Interview Skills, especially in DSA using Java. The reason I'm saying this because today, whenever a student attends an interview, especially in a product-based company, they are mainly tested on DSA and algorithm concepts. So if students are well versed with, if they have a very strong foundation on DSA and algorithms, then there are high chances that they easily get to interview, especially in product-based companies. And I'm glad that we have got this opportunity to partner with XLR on this wonderful SDP. I would also like to share that Sambram Institute of Technology has been very active as far as participation in SDPs or FDPs conducted by XLR is concerned. Our students have been beneficiaries of several SDPs conducted over the past few months. To name a few, our students have participated in large numbers in SDPs on digital marketing. Then we had the SDP on data analytics using Power BI. Recently, they had a SDP on IoT. So our students have been regularly attending the SDPs and receiving the certificates. So we have been very active, and so have been our faculty members who have been beneficiaries of a series of FDPs conducted by XLR Edutech Private Limited. So the recent FDP being FDP on AI agents, and before that we had FDP on cybersecurity, including me. We have attended the FDPs and received our participation certificates. So the association between XLR and Sambram is more than 3 years, and we are very happy that the association has stayed and it is going to continue for many years to come. I would like to wish all the participants today very happy learning, and once again, thanks for providing me this opportunity to share my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Your words mean a lot to us for our constant support and for supporting you in means of faculty development program, student development program, and various other ways which we are constantly being helping you through. So definitely the words mean a lot to us, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let me call upon our next dignitary for today's evening, Dr. Siddesha S., Associate Professor, JSS Science and Technology University, Mysuru. And he has 26 plus years of experience in academia and IT industry. His research focuses on computer vision, machine learning, having 20 plus publications and 4 PhD scholars. So over to you, sir.
So thank you, madam. Thank you for the introduction. So a warm good evening to one and all. So join here. I myself, as introduced, I myself, Dr. Siddesha S., working as an associate professor in the Department of Computer Application, JSS Science and Technology University, Mysuru. So coming to this program, this is going to be a very unique program. And another thing is, the DSA is going to be the backbone of any technical interview. And in our, we also have a tie-up with XLR Edu Private Limited recently. And these SDPs and the FDPs are going to be, very beneficial for students. So for their career, and it acts like a, it acts like a foundation for their career in the technical arena. And so XLR is doing a good job, and they're also having, very good training, online training platform, and is having good interactive sessions and giving personalized attention with convenient timings and extended course duration. And these kinds of SDPs are very helpful for our students also. At JSS Science and Technology Universities, we have conducted several SDP programs for students. And also we can easily see that how it is going to be beneficial for them during their campus drive and other thing. So with this note, I'm going to welcome you, and also I wish you all the best and happy learning through this course. And thanks XLR for giving me an opportunity to be part of this SDP.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving that energy through your words, which definitely means a lot. And we will be constantly supporting colleges like you. And we will also be coming up with new technologies and training programs, which will definitely help the students, sir.
Thank you.
So without much further ado, let me introduce today's industry expert who will be handling your sessions for the next 15 days. Mr. Adil Yusuf, Senior Technical Trainer, who has 9+ years of experience as Assistant Professor and Senior Technical Trainer skilled in AI, ML, Cloud, Data Science, and Programming. So this makes him a great player in connecting the academia, bridging the academia and the industry connect. And his expertise in Azure AI, Power BI, TensorFlow, NLP, computer vision has trained, and he has also trained thousands of faculties and IT professionals across various technologies. So a hearty welcome to you, Mr. Adil Yusuf.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Adil, you can share a few words, after which I will hand over the session for the LMS trainee, where Mr. Amar will be handling the session.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome all of you to this online lecture series on data structures and algorithms. And I hope you all are ready for these engaging sessions. And most importantly, I would like to tell you why data structures and algorithms is so much important. And in today's world, why this DSA is important? Because this DSA, data structures and algorithms, they provide the building blocks for efficient, or I can say the effective software development. Because in every organization, we require software developers or I can say in today's world where AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, it is in boom. So these organizations where data structure, software development, artificial intelligence, machine learning is important. So we should have the basic knowledge of data structures and algorithms. So that is why we have designed this lecture series for all of you, so that you can progress in your life, you can progress in your career, or you can have a career growth. So without wasting much time, I would like to hand over the session to ma'am, and later on we can continue with the session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adil.
Thank you.
So let us ignite this same session with a little more engaging and thought-provoking through our LMS information, which will be in detail shared by Mr. Amar from the training delivery team, where the participants will be able to explore ample of recording sessions, study material, and assessment tools. So I request Amar to take over the session.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amar.
Dear participants, faculty members, once again, very good evening and welcome to the student development program. So I will just quickly walk you through about the LMS. I will take 10 minutes of your time. I am pretty sure that you're excited to start your learning journey. But on the day one, once we clear on all the points, then next 15 days only learning, there will be no any disturbance. Okay, right? If once you go through this LMS kit, then from tomorrow onwards, you're not required to wait for the link to receive from anyone to receive the mail, because from tomorrow you will not get the mail. As a day one, you receive the email, but from tomorrow onwards, you need to join the session on your own, right? So focusing on that reason, I will take your 10 minutes. So let's start with the LMS KT. I hope my voice is clear. EPS students, I am expecting responses from your side. Thank you so much, Yashashwini, for responding. Others? There are a few students from previous batch raising the hand. Great. Okay, super. Every time, the first rule we need to keep in our mind, whenever you will get the question, let it be from my side or from sir in the future, we need to be interactive. If it's wrong, right, that is the secondary part. We need to follow always first rule, and everybody knows what is second rule. What is second rule? Don't forget first rule. We need to be interactive, right? Okay, so let's start. So, as I mentioned, LMS is known as a learning management system. And by using the LMS, we are going to provide you recordings of the session. You will find the agenda. You can submit your attendance feedback via LMS. Additionally, you can join the session via LMS. And as Dipta mentioned that, you will find some extra curriculum recording, some materials, some free courses as well over the LMS, and some additional extra courses as well, which you are looking for or which will help you in the future. All right. So let's start. So those who are registered till today afternoon, be like till 12, for everybody, we shared the LMS access. At that time, you receive another 2 emails. First email is a verification mail. Welcome to XLR and verify your account. By using this mail, we need to verify our account. So you can check here. We mentioned the verification link. We need to click on this link and we need to set the password. This link will be active only for 24 hours. After the 24 hours, we have option to forward the password. Directly, you can click on this link. You will get the option to forward your password. You can save the password and you can sign in. But as per the process, let's start. I'm clicking onto the verification link. Then it will take me to the next page. And here I need to set my password. So participants, listen carefully that while setting the password, this will be completely new password. It's not at all we need to provide the password of any account, Gmail account or anything. No, whatever password you want. So you can type it here. Same password, you can type it here and click on set my password. Okay, so this is the very first steps towards to accessing the LMS. Once we are done with this, open the second email. Second email is nothing but welcome to the SDP honest coding interviews, DSA master with Java. So as we're focusing on this SDP, so that particular classroom access you will receive. Few of those who are not registered, for them, I will share the registration link. No need to worry on that. Those who are registered, you can follow the steps. Okay. So in this mail, we mentioned the LMS URL, right? So our LMS URL is onlinelearning.xlar.com. And by using this, we can sign in towards to LMS. So now I'm clicking on this link. So it will take me to the next page. And here I will find the 3 options: sign in, store, and register. So as you are a registered member, that's why you are here. So not required to do a registration. Coming to the store, I will explain you what is the use of store. Now let's focus on to the sign in. So I'm clicking on to the sign in. So here I need to provide my credentials, registered mail ID and the password. Okay. So registered mail ID and password we need to provide here and need to click on to the login. In future, again, if you want to go through this program after 4, 5, 6 months, you feel like, okay, so this is the content which will help me again. So I can go through that, but if they are not going to remember the password, remember the LMS URL onlinelearning.xlar.com. You can search on Google XLR free courses. You will get this And definitely you can use the forward your password option and you can go for the courses. Okay, so now let's suppose that I provided my credentials successfully. So what next? So next, let me reshare my screen and I will show you whatever I mentioned, where you will get that, right? So just 2 seconds, 1 and 2, done. So once we provide our credentials, we land here on this page. And first of all, we'll get the dashboard. Okay, so on dashboard, you are able to see the multiple options. You're able to see the classroom, some banners running, today's session, assessment. So it's overview of the entire LMS. Okay, overview, nothing but recent activity, whatever you are going to do or whatever is assigned to you by XLR team, that you will find here. Right? So now the first thing, how you will join the session. How you will join the session using the LMS. So you can check towards the right hand side of the LMS, you are able to see one option as a today's session tab. Right? If you scroll down, so as I'm a member of XLR, you are able to see some sessions conducted, some not conducted, then join, right? But our focus is on this SDP, right? So you can check here, you are able to see the join button. If you click on the join button, it will take you through the Zoom. It's easiest and simplest way to join the session. If you click on join button, it will take you to the Zoom. Sharp at every day 6:50, you will find the join button. Okay. If you are going to face any difficulties to join the session via LMS, if you check here, I'm changing the banners and you will find this SDP banner. If you click on that now, it will take you through the YouTube. Okay. So whatever the live is there on the YouTube now, simultaneously it's running on live on YouTube as well. Okay, so you can check here. See, whatever I'm explaining over the Zoom is reflecting over the YouTube. So all participants, those who are facing the difficulty, now they wish, then everything is there into the chat box, right? If you're not able to see the chat box now, just for the imagination, the chat box is not there, then you can check below this panel, subscribe panel, you will find the live chat option. Why chat option needs to be open, chat panel needs to be open? Because we are going to share the links here. If any application needs to be downloaded or attendance link or any registration link or any information, we'll be sharing here into the chat box. So be active into the chat box as well. Okay. So see, again, like we not required any another things, because if once we give the access now, you can easily get all these things. If you want to join the session from YouTube as well, you just need to click there and you need to go here. Again, in that as well, you can just go ahead, subscribe the channel and turn on the bell icon, bell notification. You will get the notification when session starts. All right. So I'm requesting everybody to subscribe, and every day after completion of the session, you need to like the session as well, right? We can like it. Yes. You're not required to remember every day, just once after completion the session, like the session and you can share with your friends as well. Now let's go back into the LMS and how you will be accessing the recording over the LMS as well, where you will get the material agenda, right? So you can check in my classroom, you are able to see SDP on is coding interview DSA, right? So I'm clicking on that classroom. You will find that option into the classroom as well. So the first and most important thing, feedback and response, submit your attendance here. So dear participant, again, I'm sorry, but I'm saying you listen me carefully. So here coming to the attendance, 60% attendance is mandatory to get the certificate of participation from XLR. The first rule, okay, 60% attendance, and you need to mark the attendance using this form. Second rule. Third rule, this link will be active in between 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. Okay, and fourth rule, every day you will be getting this link over the Zoom and YouTube as well. So no need to worry if you're not registered as of now, but from tomorrow, make sure that everybody is going to active their LMS, okay, and going to use the links from here itself, right? So make sure minimum 60% we require to get the certificate, and feel the real-time feedback, whatever you're feeling about the session, okay? Clear? Till here, clear? Okay, let me check the chat box once. Okay, good. Thank you. So now, once we go back, we'll find the agenda. Okay, so in the agenda, you will get to know that, okay, so these are the things which we are going to learn in the next 15 days. Okay, so you will find all these things here. Below the agenda, you will find the session recordings. So whatever we are going to learn in this next 15 days, Monday to Friday, so you will find the recording here itself. So as currently it's live, you are able to see the live session is happening here. But once after completion of the session, if you come back after 5 minutes for specifically this program, you will find the recording. So however, you are able to see the day 1 recording here. Day 1 to day 15, all the recordings will be available with the topic. Okay. After that, material. So now, whatever sir is going to explain today in today's session for next 1 1.5 hour. So that material you will find here. Okay. So you can access the material from here itself. If you go into the Meet now, so again from Meet also you are able to join the session. If you want to check your calendar, let's click on the month and you will find that, okay, see 5/5. And if you go into the next month as well, this program is going to run for 15 days. So you will get that for next 5 days as well. The program is there, and by 6th of June, we are going to wind up this program. Monday to Friday session will be happening. Okay, clear? Now, as I mentioned that you will get some extra things as well over the LMS into the store that you can reveal on your own as per your available time. You can go through that. Here you will find some pre and paid courses as well. So as we collaborated with APSHE government, AP government, so you will find that you will find that courses here. And as I mentioned, you will find some previous SDPs. So which are important related to chat GPT, generative AI, data analysis, digital marketing. Definitely will get a good learning from that because the content is developed and shared by the industry expert. Same scenario, I believe that there are a few faculties attending this SDP. We have FDPs as well. So you can go through that. The techniques of the Gen AI or AI agent, as sir mentioned, recently we completed that programs are attended. In that we covered some tools, topics, some new applications which you can use in your daily life. So faculty members definitely can go through the FDP as well. So that's all from my side. I believe this is clear. And next 2 minutes, I will be sharing the registration link with you. If you missed on that, I'm requesting go ahead, register. Within next 24 hours, you will get the LMS access to the particular classroom, and you can easily able to access the LMS. It's very easy to access as compared to the Instagram as well, right? Clear? Any doubt? Clear. Thank you, Vaishnavi. Others clear? Let me check the comments over the YouTube as well. Yes, sir, clear. Attendance link, if you're not registered or if you're not able to access the LMS, no worries. We'll be sharing the attendance link here as well at 8:30. Yes, Roy, I will be sharing the attendance. Yeah, clear. Thank you to participants as well for your active participation, and I'm expecting same participation till day 15. Okay, so let's be engaging and interactive. Okay, so chalo, so we'll start with the actual session. Thank you so much for listening me, and happy learning with XLR. Sir, over to you. You can take it forward. Adil sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You can take it forward.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let me first share the screen. Okay. Good evening once again. As you know, I already discussed about why we require data structure, right? So before going deep into the detail, let us give basic introduction of data structures, right? As we all of know what a computer is, and you might be knowing it well. Being in the field of computer science, we might be knowing it well. A computer is simply an electronic machine which is used for data processing, data manipulation, performing calculations, etc., etc. And being a programmer, whenever you have to perform any kind of data processing or any kind of data manipulation, we require data. So whenever we are requiring data, it means we have to collect that data first. So for data processing, a programmer has to collect a required respective type of a data, and after collecting that data, he requires some kind of memory where he can store that data. So this memory, I can say, where this programmer, or I can say computer scientist, or any person who is working in the field of computer science, he requires memory, computer's main memory, where he has to store that kind of a data. And for a computer to work, we need to know how this data is represented in the computer, how do we access that data, and how do we solve these problems step by step. Right? For doing all these kind of tasks, we require data structure. Right? Simple. Computer is an electronic machine which is used for data processing and data manipulation. And whenever a programmer collects such kind of data for processing, he requires that data to get stored somewhere in the computer's memory. Right? And in order to make a computer work, we have to represent the data in the computer, we have to access the data, we have to solve the problem step by step. For doing all these kind of tasks, we need a data structure. And I hope you might be knowing what actually data structure is. It is actually, or I can say, the representation of the data, mathematical or logical representation of the data. Right? Before going deep into the data structure, first of all, let us discuss what is the role of this DSA, data structures and algorithms, in technical hiring process. Why do we require it? Right? See, if we see in today's job market, everywhere you can say like this, DSA is being asked. Wherever you go, you will find there is the requirement of DSA. And there is a reason why DSA is important. Because, nowadays organizations, or I can say businesses, they face lot of difficulties, or I can say they have got a lot of problems. And these computer students, or I can say the computer professionals, they are there to solve those problems. And the size and the complexity of the difficulties of these problems, it is very, I can say, huge, and we are facing them every now and then. And to solve these kind of problems, to find a solution to the complexity of these problems, they seek to employ those individuals, or I can say the knowledgeable individuals, who can complete these tasks quickly and efficiently. And when I say quickly and efficiently, here comes the role of DSA. Because once you have a sound knowledge of DSA, data structures and algorithms, the problem solving capability, or I can say the IQ level, which we usually have, that increases. So due to this, the size and the complexity of the difficulties, the organizations, or I can say the businesses, they employ these kind of individuals. And one more thing is the ability to solve difficult problems quickly, or I can say efficiently, is clearly demonstrated by the persons, those who have the advanced grasp of this DSA. Because once you have a sound knowledge of DSA, data structures and algorithms, once you have a good knowledge of algorithms, how to solve a particular problem, and that problem has one issue, it is not only solving a problem, At the same time, you have to take care of its efficiency, minimal time, minimal resources. That is the actual thing. Like suppose if I will tell you an example, I will give you a question. I will tell you, you have to solve this question. And everyone comes up with a solution. Whose solution is more acceptable, or I can say, to whom should I give the more grades? Obviously, the one who will come up with a solution in minimal time and using minimum number of resources. Here it is actually the DSA that is giving us such kind of things, that is helping us to solve the problems, complex problems in minimal time using minimum number of resources. And you all might be shocked if you came to learn that this DSA plays a significant role in solving issues in the real world. Those problems, there are some typical problems, they take months to solve. And with the help of this DSA, we can solve them in a fraction of seconds, or I can say in a matter of minutes. So with the help of DSA, we can solve those problems quickly and efficiently. And at the same time, this DSA, it is assessing the candidate's problem solving skills. Means how is your attitude towards a particular kind of a problem. With the help of this DSA, we gain the ability to design efficient solutions. And at the same time, with the help of DSA, we can understand the fundamental concepts of computer science. So these are some things that we use, or I can say, like the role of DSA in current hiring process. So without DSA, I guess to compete in the field of computer science, it is almost impossible. So once we have stepped into the field of computer science, the role of DSA becomes important. Even nowadays, you can say the artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, they are in boom. So without the knowledge of DSA, I guess we cannot compete that much in these fields. So DSA is very, very important, right? Now, without wasting much time, we'll directly go to the definition of data structure. See, as I already told you, we have a computer. Computer is used to manipulate data, access data, and whenever we have a data, the computer has some storage, this capability in order to store that data. Now, this data has to be stored in an organized way. So it is the data structure that defines a specific way of organizing and storing data in a computer. Once the data is stored efficiently, or I can say in an organized manner, it can be assessed and modified efficiently. And this data structure, at the same time, it is a fundamental concept in computer science, because as I already told you, it provides a method for organizing information that is usually in the memory for effective storage, or I can say whenever we have to retrieve the data, or whenever we have to manipulate the data. So these data structures are essential. And at the same time, they are essential for building programs, systems that can handle large amounts of data. Right? See, a data structure can be defined as a group of data elements, which provides an efficient way of storing and organizing data in computer so that it can be used efficiently, as I already discussed. With the help of data structures, we can store the data, we can organize this data so that it can be retrieved and manipulated efficiently. And see, as I already told you, this data structure is actually the mathematical and scientific way of storing the data. It is not like you have a data, you can store it anywhere. There is a proper structure where you have to store your data. Once you have a proper structure, and that you have to choose. It is not like I will give you 10 numbers, I will tell you to store these 10 numbers. You have to be smart enough where you can justify your decision why I have stored these 10 numbers in a particular data structure. So once we will get all those concepts related to data storage, we can easily identify a proper data structure where we can store our data. So there are so many data structures. You can have arrays, you can have linked lists, we can have stacks, queues, trees, graphs, etc., etc. So these are some of the examples of data structure, and I will be discussing these data structures one by one in detail. And these data structures, they are widely used in almost every aspect of computer science, and you might be knowing it well, be it operating system, be it compiler design, be it computer graphics, be it I can say image processing, artificial intelligence, data science. Everywhere, almost in every field of computer science, we are using data structures, isn't it? So that is why this data structure role of DSA is important. That is why every organization or every hiring process, they are in demand of data structure, because data structure play an utmost role in every field of computer science. So that is the reason we are studying data structure, and that is the reason we are here, right? And at the same time, you can say they are a main part of computer science algorithms, because they enable programmers to handle the data in an efficient way that I already discussed. And it also plays a vital role in enhancing the performance of a software or a program, as the main function of software is to store and retrieve users' data. See, everything revolves under data, because in today's world, data is everywhere. Data, everywhere it is data. Starting from a Facebook like to uploading a huge file over the internet, we have the data, isn't it? So when you have data everywhere, there is a proper way of storing this data, and everything nowadays works on data. If you see in today's world, chat GPT, or I can say the generative AI in general, be it chat GPT, be it Gemini, be it Bard, be it I can say any artificial intelligent agent, they are actually working based on the data. You might be knowing about training. So whenever you are training any kind of a machine learning model, or I can say the AI model, that is actually based on the data, historical data, or I can say the past data. Based on that, we are taking decisions. So this data storage becomes important, and this is where the role of data structure comes into play. So simply saying, data structure can be defined as a mathematical or an organization or organized, or I can say the scientific way of storing the data. So this whenever we are storing the data, we have a particular data structure. For example, you can have array, you can have linked list, you can have stack, you can have queue, you can have trees, you can have graphs, etc., etc. So we have so many data structures, and these data structures are nothing but simply a data storing element, or I can say the way of storing our data, right? Yes. See, a data structure is a particular way of organizing data in a computer so that it can be used effectively. Fine. For example, if we store a list of elements having same data type, we can use the array data structure, and you might be knowing it well, and we'll discuss it in detail. Array is a simple data structure where we are actually storing what? We are actually storing the homogeneous data items. Homogeneous means whenever you have a data of same kind, of same type, when the data type is same. For example, I can tell you an example. I am giving you numbers, or I can say your marks, the marks of students. And marks are in integers. You have got 70 marks, 80, 90, 75, etc., etc. And all the data is of type integer, or I can say float. So when I have a such kind of data, and I want this data to get stored in contiguous memory locations, right? So for that kind of data, I will be using what? I will be using arrays. So to store a list of items, or I can say the data items of the same type, homogeneous data type, we will be making use of a data structure, that is array. Like suppose here it is. This is the memory locations Contiguous memory location. Contiguous means continuous memory locations. We have a location 200, 201, 200. Depend upon the data type. What kind of data you have? If it is integer, and 2 bytes of data, or if it is long gate, if it is character, we can have 1 byte. If it is float, we can have 4 bytes. So depending upon that, you have a data type, and based on the data type, we will be allocating memory to this data, whichever we have to store in our memory location. Right? Okay, fine. See, and you might be knowing it well. Index. And in C, Java, C++, the index starts from 0. Here also it is. Index is simply where our memory locations are starting. Array starts with an index of 0 in C, C++, etc. So many programming languages, almost in all common new programming languages, it starts with 0. There are some programming languages like R, I guess Fortran. In those languages, the index starts from 1. But in Java, C, C++, the index starts from 0. And I have this data, and I'm storing this character data. Here it is. Actually, UBFDAEC. We are storing this data in this array from index 0, and these are the memory. If we see the count, contiguous memory location is 200, 201, 202. It is because the data type is character, and character is occupying only 1 byte of memory. That is why the location is 201, 202, and so on. If it would have been int 2 byte int, then it would have been 200, 202, 204, 206, and so on, depending upon the type of the data, or I can say the data type. Hope it is clear. Right? Yeah, the representation of a particular data structure in main memory of a computer is called as a storage. It is also called as a storage structure. What is the actual storage structure of the memory? Yeah, the storage structure representation in auxiliary memory is called a file. A file structure. We have got a storage structure. We have got a file structure. Right? So whenever we have got some auxiliary memory in our computer, and we are representing this storage structure. If we are representing this storage structure in auxiliary memory, then it is called as a file structure. Yeah, it is defined as a way of storing and manipulating data in organized form so that it can be used efficiently, that we discussed so many times. The ultimate aim of storing this data is the effectiveness, is the efficiency. Whatever we are doing in order to store the data, it is because at the end of the day, it should be efficient. Because whenever we go forward to the in the later part of the course, we'll be discussing time complexity and space complexity. As I already discussed about that problem, I will give a problem and I will tell you to come up with a solution. I will accept the solution, or I will grade the solution based on your efficiency. Means how fast and how minimal resources you have utilized for the problem. So that is why I'm saying efficiently, because we can store. I will give you some data. I will tell you to store it. Multiple students will store the data. Rather, all of the students will store that. But the best one is who will use minimum memory. And whenever I have to retrieve that data, that I will give you. That should be retrieved easily and efficiently. So whenever you are storing things like that, I can say you are storing them efficiently, and with the help of data structures, we can do all these things. So actually these data structures, they mainly specify the following 4 things. First thing is organization of data, that I already told you, right? It is actually the organization of data. Then accessing method, how you are accessing the data. Once you have stored the data, how do you access it? Then it is degree of associativity. Then processing alternative for information, means whenever you have to get the information, you have to process that information. Means we have data. Whenever we are processing that data, it means we are getting the information out of data, because data, it is a raw fact, right? So whenever we are processing data, we are getting the information. So these are actually the things that this data structure is actually specifying, right? Once we have defined a data structure, Means once we have organized our data, once we have used some accessing method, once we have retrieved our data, then comes the part of algorithm, right? And you might be knowing it well what an algorithm is. Can anyone define an algorithm? The definition of algorithm. Yes. Okay. See. Can anyone? I guess it's not possible to get your answers in the live session. So let me define the algorithm. If you know this algorithm is actually the word algorithm name comes from a Persian author. The name was, I guess, Abu Jafar Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khawarizmi. And that al-Khawarizmi has written a book on mathematics as well. So he has taken this word algorithm from that al-Khawarizmi word. So this algorithm is actually a finite set of instructions that, if followed, they accomplish a particular task. Means it is actually a set of instructions which we follow to accomplish a particular task. The basic example, if I will give you, let me tell you, making a cup of tea. If we have to make a cup of tea, actually what we have to do? We have to follow some steps. We have to get an utensil, water, tea, we have to get some heater or any kind of a gas, etc. Then we have to follow the steps. So when all these steps are followed in a particular way, and they will accomplish a particular task. For example, at the end of the steps, the cup of tea should be ready. So means we have followed some steps. So that is actually an algorithm, right? And there are some conditions, or I can say some criteria that an algorithm has to satisfy. And I will tell you, like, I guess there are 5 criteria. The very basic criteria is the input. Means there should be 0 or more quantities that are externally supplied to an algorithm. And there is a question. I just want to write this question. Why we require a, if we say algorithm, why do we require 0 inputs? Yes. Because I told you the very basic criteria is 0 or more quantities are externally supplied. Can an algorithm accept 0 input? This is a question to it. Make a note of it, and you have to come up with an answer. Some of the examples where an algorithm is accepting 0 input. Just make a note of it and come up with an answer. And the second criteria for an algorithm is output. And here we should not tell 0 or more quantities is produced. At least 1 quantity is produced, because if we say 0, then it is not, we are not getting the output. So for an output, there should be at least 1 quantity that is produced by the algorithm. But for an input, 0 or more quantities are externally supplied. You have to make note of it. Then one more criteria is definiteness. Means it is simple. The definiteness is simply whatever instructions or whatever steps you are following in an algorithm, they must be very much clear and they should be unambiguous. There should not be any kind of an ambiguity between the instructions, or I can say between the steps in an algorithm. They have to be very much definite. Then another criteria is finiteness. Means if we have to trace out the instructions of an algorithm, the algorithm terminates after a finite number of steps. It should not go in an infinite loop kind of a thing. So an algorithm has to terminate after a finite number of steps. So that is the finiteness. And finally, there is one more criteria. We call that as an effectiveness. Means all the instructions, or I can say every instruction within an algorithm, they must be very basic, right? So it should be very much clear. So these are some of the criteria that we have to follow while designing an algorithm, right? Now, see, we have studied algorithm and we have studied data structure. When we incorporate these 2 things, they will come out as a program. So program is simply what? If you have defined program, it is a set of instructions, isn't it? If we define a program in a computer science, we simply say a program is a set of instructions. Now, what is this set of instructions actually? These set of instructions are actually the algorithm, or you can say a pseudo code, plus some data structures with the help of which we are actually implementing those algorithms. For example, if I say you simply, we have to add two numbers, write a program to add two numbers. What we'll do? Simple. I can tell you, if I will tell you I have to add two numbers. So simple. I can write like integer integer a, integer b, isn't it? Then I can say integer sum, or I can say integer s. Then I will write s is equivalent to what? A plus b. What is it actually? It is actually an algorithm that I am writing. An algorithm with the help of what? With the help of using these data structures, I am actually writing a program. And that program is then language specific. You can write a C program, Java program, C++, Python, etc., etc. So with the help of these, we can write a program. So algorithm plus data structure, they are making a program.
Student, just wait for some time. There is some network disturbance and sir sir is rejoining, so we'll proceed in some time. Oh yeah, this is like given the ghost access, you can proceed.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, na, I was not able to access it.
I guess no problem, you can proceed.
Okay, so we're discussing about algorithms, right? Okay, hope now everything is fine. Sorry for the disturbance. I don't know what happened in between. Okay, so we're discussing about algorithm and data structures. As I discussed about algorithm is simply the number, or I can say the steps which if followed, they accomplish a particular task. And when we incorporate some data structures into the algorithm, or I can say it's a combination of both. Whenever an algorithm and data structure are built in such a way, they make a program, right? So this data structure study, they cover the following points like amount of memory required to store, amount of time required to process, representation of data in memory, operations performance on data. Like see, yes. Now the amount of memory required to store. Actually, this is the main important thing that is actually the data structure is doing. For example, whenever you have a data and you want to store that data, and you require the memory for storing that data. Or I can put it like this way. I will tell you, write a program to find Fibonacci of a number, or I can say a factorial of a number, or any program. Right? For that program, you first require algorithm. Right? Then after that algorithm, you require some data structures where you can store your data. So these data structures are actually memory locations, isn't it? Where you want to store your data. So how many memory locations you need, right? That is the amount of memory. So our program, our algorithm, or I can say our this application, it should be such that it should require a minimum number of memory resources. If I will give you a task, I will tell you to write a program to 10 students, and I will tell you that this program should utilize minimum number of memory resources. Means it should occupy as minimum as possible memory. So everyone will try to find out the solution, and I will accept the one which is using less memory. Means here comes the role of space complexity. Means space complexity is simply where we can say the amount of memory which a program takes to run to its completion. Means whenever you are writing a program, if your program is utilizing minimum number of memory locations, or I can say minimum storage, then I can say your program is memory efficient. So this data structure actually covers this topic as well. Means it is actually checking the amount of memory. Means based on our program, based on the efficiency, based on the complexity, I can choose a data structure which will occupy minimum number of, or I can say the minimum memory space. Then another important thing is time. That is the most important thing in DSA. Means the amount of time that it requires to process, or I can say which a program takes to run to its completion. See, I will give you an example. Do you know why there are different strategies? I will tell you. You have to sort a series of numbers, or I can say sort a list using any algorithm. Do you know there are so many sorting techniques? Can anyone tell me, or you have thought why there are so many sorting techniques? See, at the end, every technique is sorting the list. But why there are so many techniques? Can anyone tell? I don't know whether chat is running here or not. Yeah, it is simple. If we say bubble sort, we have merge sort, we have quick sort, selection sort, insertion sort, all these are sorting techniques. You can also come up with a new sorting technique. It is not like you can always go with the previously defined sorting technique. You can also come up with your own sorting technique. But the thing is, your sorting technique should be efficient from the previous one. When I say efficient, what does that mean? That simply means that this sorting technique must be sorting the elements in a way that it requires minimum time as compared to the previous sorting technique, isn't it? So this time constant is important whenever you are devising, or I can say designing any kind of an algorithm. Two things we have to keep in mind every time. One is memory, another one is time, or I can say the space and the time complexity. I can tell you your algorithm is efficient only when it is occupying what? Minimum memory as compared to other algorithms. Only then your algorithm is efficient. Because in algorithm design and analysis, there are so many design strategies, and multiple design strategies are doing the same job, or I can say multiple techniques are doing the same job. Now, why there are so many techniques? The reason behind all this is that we are checking different corners. We are checking that technique on different corners, means on the basis of time, on the basis of space, and at the end we are accepting only that technique that is the memory efficient, or I can say that is time efficient, or I can say the solution must be optimal, as someone has written in the chat box. Optimal solution. Optimal solution means, see, there are when we discuss about the solutions, I will discuss it later also in the coming lectures. There is a solution, and we have feasible solution and optimal solution. For example, I will tell you, you are in the college and you have to go back to your home. There might be multiple routes to reach your home, isn't it? And some route will be taking, like suppose 1 hour, some route will be taking 2 hours, 3 hours, 50 minutes, 30 minutes, and via some route you will be taking 10 you will be having a cost of like suppose 100 rupees, 50 rupees, 30 rupees, and so on. So but at the end you are reaching home. So when you are reaching home from college to home, it means there is a solution, and all these solutions are feasible solutions. But when you have discovered, or I can say when you have experienced it, all these solutions, all these feasible solutions, like suppose there are 10 ways, and once you check all these 10 ways, whatever you have got, you will be selecting which one? The one which is taking less time and the one which is taking minimal cost. So the solution which is having the minimal cost and the minimal time, you will call that solution as an optimal solution. So every time in algorithms, we are in search of optimality. We call those solutions as optimal solution. Means the solution which is taking minimal resources and minimal time. So this data structure also covers this concept. Means it is covering the amount of time that is required, that an algorithm or a program is requiring to process. And at the same time, it is a representation of the data in memory. How do we represent the data in memory? Actually, it is actually the data structure itself. How do we organize the data? How do we represent the data in the memory? Whether you are representing data in a contiguous memory location, if it is of homogeneous, whether you are representing it in first in, first out, whether you are representing it in a kind of a stack where recursion is used, whether you are representing it in the form of these nodes and edges, whether you are representing it in the form of this hierarchical structure. So that is actually data structure. If you are representing data in multiple ways, means data structure comes into play. And there are so many operations that we perform on data. So this is actually that data structure is actually covering. Means, see, in these 4 steps, This is actually the cracks of DSA. And in these 4 steps is the ultimate goal of DSA. It revolves around these steps. Means you have to select the solution which is occupying minimal memory. You have to accept the solution, or you have to come out with a solution that is taking minimal amount of time. You have to represent data in your memory in such a way that it should be easily accessible, it should be easily manipulated, it can be easily retrieved. So you have to represent data in such a way, and at the same time you have to perform operations in the data. Means you have to sometimes you want to insert a new element, you have to retrieve the data, you want to delete some data, etc. You have to perform operations among the data elements. So it should be in such a way that these operations should be performed efficiently. Yeah, all these solutions are used in actually see these are actually design strategies. We'll be discussing all these design strategies that we have, like dynamic programming, greedy method, divide and conquer. All these techniques we have to discuss during these sessions. But here I am just giving you an overview of the data structures. Like what are the different, why do we study data structure? Actually it is like the why is data structure so important? Because as I already told you in the beginning of the lecture, right, everywhere it is used. Yeah, time complex and space complex user, no doubt it is used. What is you responding over here? So these are actually these 4 steps, or I can say the concepts around which this DSA is evolving. And when you, not only DSA, if we see the our day-to-day problems, if we see our day-to-day problems, these things are important as well, isn't it? Like suppose if you are 2 3 siblings at your home, and your parents are giving you a kind of a this work, they are just telling you to complete this work, and the and all the 3 siblings or 4 siblings, they are trying to complete the work. The sibling who is smart, or I can say in terms of this doing the works, he will come out with a solution in a minimal time, and he will require minimum number of resources, isn't it? So that solution is efficient. Although you all come up with solution, those are called as feasible solutions. But the one who will come out with a solution in a minimal time and using minimal number of resources, that will be called as an optimal solution. Right? So not only in data structure, that is why this data structure is asked in different interview questions. Because once you have the capability to solve the problems and keeping these things in mind, these all 4 things, you can apply these things into your day-to-day problems. Or you, or I guess, as I already told you, in industries, there are so many complex problems, and the business, they want people, they want individuals who can solve those problems. But the solution is must be optimal. Once you have experienced these concepts in your day-to-day life, in the concept, in the problems of computer science, once you know all the design strategies, how to tackle a particular kind of a problem, and keeping in mind all these things like memory, storage, representation, operations, etc., etc. Once you will keep all these things in mind while solving a particular kind of a problem, you can solve your day-to-day problems, or you can solve the problems of an industry, you can solve the problem of a business in a in an efficient way, right? Okay, hope it is clear. If you have any doubts, okay. Yeah, if you have any questions or any doubts, please feel free to ask. Okay, see, I hope the overall concept is clear. right? I hope it is clear. Okay, fine. So let us proceed further. Now, we have discussed, right, data structures and algorithms, and we have discussed about space. Not discussed, I can say we had used the terms space complexity and time complexity. Right? So data structure plays an important role in all those things. Now, if we go deep into the data structure, we have to explain the different types of data structure. And this data structure has been divided into two types, primitive and non-primitive. Right? If we see, this is the overall data structures. We have built-in data structure, user-defined data structure, or I can say the primitive data structure and the non-primitive data structures. Let me hide it. Okay, if we go into these built-in data structures, we have integers, we have float, we have character, and we have pointer. And I hope you all might be knowing these very well. These are simply the data types, or I can say, that you study in C, C++, Java. And integer data structure, or I can say integer data type, it is simply where we store or where we have a data of type integers. Similarly, when it is float, we have a floating point data structure, or I can say decimal type data type. Then we have character data structure. Character is simply where you have characters A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, your names, etc., etc., or I can say strings as well. Then there's another data type, or I can say data structure. We call that as a pointer data structure, where we use reference. And we'll be using all these data types or data structures in the coming lectures. And the main difference in these data structures is that actually the data type and the number of or I can say the number of bytes each data structure is taking, isn't it? Means, like, suppose if we say integer, it is taking 2 bytes of memory. For example, if you have a program, or I can say an algorithm where you are adding two numbers, right? Like, I tell you, like, for example, if I will tell you, you have an integer a, and I am supposing the integer is a. I am not writing int a, I am writing int b, and I am writing int c or int s, isn't it? So it means what? I am declaring actually what? I am declaring 3 integers. For example, like int a, b, and c, right? Then I am writing like c is equivalent to a plus b. I'm not writing a full-fledged program. I'm simply writing a statement to make you clear. Okay. See here, when I am saying int a, int b, and int c, it means I am declaring 3 integers. And why I am declaring it? Because it actually specifies the number of bytes each of these variables will be taking. When I say a will be taking how many bytes? Simply 2 bytes, isn't it? Then what about b? Also 2 bytes. What about c? Also 2 bytes. So whenever I am writing a program of this type, means where I am declaring 3 variables, so that would occupy a memory space of 6 bytes, isn't it? So I will tell the space complexity of a program where I am using 3 variables. It will be 6 bytes, means it will occupy 6 bytes of memory. My screen is not visible. Is it visible? Can anyone confirm to me, please? Okay. So I was just typing like int A, B, and C. Then it was C is equivalent to A plus B. So if I will compute the space, what is the space occupied by a program of this type, where I am declaring 3 variables? There might be other things as well that will be occupying the memory, that we will discuss later when we will discuss space complexity in detail. So for the time being, I'm just saying here I have used 3 variables, and each variable is taking how many memory, how many bytes of memory? They are taking 2 plus 2 plus 2, that is equivalent to 6 bytes of memory. Means the space complexity of this program, where I am using 3 variables, and each variable is of type what? Is of type integer. Data structure is integer. I can say data type is integer. Means each variable is occupying a space of 2 bytes, and I am using 3 variables. So the algorithm will be using 6 bytes of memory. So the space complexity of a program where I am using 3 variables is 6 bytes. Similarly, if I am using float, then it will depend what is the how many number of bytes this float variable is taking. It is usually 4 or long. That depends, 4, 6, 8, etc. Similarly, if it is character, it is 1 byte, and pointer, so on. So it all depends upon what? Depends upon a data type, or I can say data structure. So whatever data structure you are using, based on that, you can compute the memory, or I can say the space complexity of a variable. Then we have user defined data structures, or I can say the non-primitive data structures. And these user defined, or I can say the non-primitive data structures, they are actually what? They are in turn of 2 types. We call them as linear and non-linear data structures. And in linear data structure, we have stack, we have queue, and we have tree. Right? And arrays also comes into a linear data structure. And in arrays, we have got 1D array, 2D array, and multi-dimensional arrays. We'll be discussing them one by one. So if we go arrays, I guess we'll be discussing them in detail in the coming part of the lecture. Then we have lists and files. We have linear and non-linear. In linear, we have stack, we have queue, we have trees, and we have graphs. Right? See. Okay. There is a chat. Okay. So data type, as I already discussed, it is a kind of a data, or I can say type of a data. Means its values are actually determining what kind of data it is. For example, as I told you, integer. If your data is of type integer, its kind is simply int. Right? Then we have primitive data structures. These are actually the basic data structures. And these data structure, why these are called as primitive? Because they directly operate upon the machine instruction. Means whatever the machine, you might be knowing it very well. We have machine instructions, the instructions that are actually given by the machine to the program. So if these data structures are actually, if the data structures are basic, and they are directly operated upon by the machine instruction. And these data structures, they have different representations on different computers. Means these primitive data structures are computer specific. Means their representations, they are computer specific. And the types of primitive data structures, as I already told you, they are integers, they are floats, character, pointers. These are all the examples of primitive data structures. And in, I guess, all the programming languages, or I can say the most of the programming languages, we call them as built-in data types. You might be knowing it well. These primitive data structures, they are actually called built-in data types in most of the programming languages. And we have got integer, we have got float, we have got character, we have got pointer, right? Then comes another data type, or I can say another data structure. We call them as non-primitive data types, or I can say non-primitive data structures. Yeah, is my screen paused or? Hope my screen is visible. Can anyone confirm? Okay. Yeah, it might be the internet glitch from your end. It is visible, most of you. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Okay, so then comes the non-primitive data type. See, these are actually most sophisticated data structures, these non-primitive. And these are derived from the primitive data structures. The non-primitive data structures, actually, we derive these non-primitive data structures from the primitive data structures. And the data structures that are non-primitive. In those data structures, what we usually do, we most of the times, or I can say we emphasize structuring of a group of homogeneous or heterogeneous data items, because whenever we say arrays, we can say what? Homogeneous data item. Similarly, when we say integer, these characters, we say string kind of a thing, etc., etc. So these non-primitive data structures, actually, they emphasize structuring of a group of homogeneous or heterogeneous data items, right? And for these non-primitive data structures, we have the example of array, we have lists, and we have files. And later these, if we see the previous example, these no, I am not writing anything on the screen right now. Once I will write, I will let you know. So these non-primitive data types, or I can say data structures, they are further divided into this linear and non-linear, right? Like I discussed over here, linear list and non-linear list. And in linear, we have got stacks, queues, and pointers, right? Then we have a non-linear data structure, that is this is a non-primitive data structure or a data type, that is array. Simply, you might be knowing it well. Array is a fixed size sequential collection of elements where all the data elements, they are homogeneous, or I can say they are of the same data type. Means array of integers, array of characters, array of floating points, etc., etc. Then list. What is a list? A list is actually an ordered set. See, a set is a collection of items, isn't it? Similarly, this list is actually an ordered set containing variable number of elements. For example, if you have a set and that set is ordered, and in that set you have got variable number of elements, we call that as a list. Then comes another data type or another data structure, we call that as a file. And you might be very much familiar with your files, because in computer systems we have file types. So they are a collection of logically related information. Means you have got, for example, a word file, a music file. In your phone, you have a file manager. What is that file manager actually? See, here data structure also comes into play in your phones. When you open the files, or I can say file manager from your phone, what is that actually? That is actually storing data. And what is that data actually? That data is actually in their respected file formats. For example, if you have a PDF data, or I can say PDF files, that comes into PDF data. If you have a Word data, that comes into Word files. If you have images, right? If you have any other kind of a data, so that is actually that kind of data, that file, that will be opened, or I can just stored in their respective file format. So file is actually a collection of logically related information, and it can be viewed as a large list of records consisting of various fields. You might have known it. For example, if you want to open a file in your computer or in your phone, what is that file actually? It is actually a list of records, isn't it? See, we have a folder. Inside the folder, we have files, right? And within the files, what we have? We have a logically related information. I will show you, or I can say if you open some file on a computer or a folder in your computer, once you click on a folder, right? Inside the folder, what is there? There is a data, and within that folder, that data is logically related, and that is viewed as a large list of records consisting of various fields, right? Okay. Then we have linear data structure. What is a linear data structure? Can anyone tell me? Linear means? I'm not writing anything. Once I will write, I will let you know. PPT screen is visible, that is fine. Okay. See, linear data structure is simply what? Yes. Good to see the answers from you. Yeah, it is linearly stored. Or I can say the data is arranged in contiguous block of memory. Means a linear data structure is a data structure where we store the data in a memory, and that is arranged in a contiguous block of memory, or I can say linearly, in the form of array, in the form of linked list, in the form of stacks, in the form of queues, etc., etc. Right? So the example of a linear data structure is, it is array, it is stack, it is linked list, it is queue, etc., etc. And when we say linear data structure, the member elements, or I can say the data items, or I can say the elements in that data structure, they form a sequence in the storage, means one after the other when they are linearly stored. But finally, see, when you have a data structure, the main thing is how do we represent that data structure in memory. As in the start of the session, we say actually we have to store the data in the computer. And how do we represent the data structure in the memory? And for a linear data structure, there are two ways to represent, right? One is static memory allocation and another one is dynamic memory allocation. Means how do we allocate memory to the data structures? Or in other words, I can say how do we represent the linear data structure in memory? There are two ways by which we can store the data in the memory. One is static memory allocation and another one is dynamic memory allocation. Means whenever you are using any kind of a data or any kind of a data structure, you are allocating memory statically, or you can allocate the memory at the runtime, or I can say dynamically. You might be knowing it well. If not, I will discuss it later while writing any kind of a program. So you can designate memory statically, or you can allocate memory statically, or you can allocate or represent a data structure dynamically. That is called as dynamic memory allocation. And see, also I discussed with you like the main aim of this data structure is to access the memory location. Means we can say we have a good or we have an efficient data structure if we can access the data very much efficiently. That is the main thing. As I already told you, we have data. जैसे मैंने बोला कि as I already discussed, like starting from a Facebook live to uploading a file, we have data. We have to process that data, and by processing the data, we mean we have to traverse the data, we have to insert new data, we have to delete the already existing data, we have to find some data data elements within the data, or I can say search, we have to sort the data, or we have to merge the data. These are some of the operations that we have to perform on the data. And whenever the data structure is linear, these are some of the possible operations. Means we have to traverse in that data structure, whether it is an array, linked list, stack, queue, linearly. Similarly, we have to perform any kind of an insertion in a linear data structure. We have to delete the data, we have to search, we have to sort, and we have to merge. These are some of the possible operations on the linear data structure, right? See, now there are some examples of linear data structure. And one among them is stack. Can anyone tell me what is stack? Basic data structure. It is a very basic data structure. Yes. Okay, see, stack is simply first in, last out. And what does that mean, first in, last out? I will give you an example. Let me give you an example. See, a basic example. You all might be knowing or you might be familiar about with it. Like suppose we are going to some hotel. We want to eat something. And there is a dishwasher at that hotel. He is washing those plates. Whenever these used plates are coming to him, what he is doing? He is just washing the plate, putting in the shelf. Whenever he washes the next, and he is actually stacking those plates, one above the other, one above the other. And whenever someone needs a plate, washed plate, what does he do? He will give a plate from the top. Means whichever plate he has washed, the latest one, whichever plate he has washed just now, the last plate, he is giving him that one, isn't it? That is simply how this stack is working. He is actually making a stack of these plates, and whenever someone is in need of a plate, he is not giving the plate from in between or from the bottom. He is simply picking up the plate at the top. So whenever he is picking the plate at the top, he is giving that to him. And that plate which he is picking, he has recently washed that plate. That is first in, last out. Or I can say last in, first out. Means whenever he is putting the plate at the top, and if someone requires that plate, he is picking that up and giving that to him. Isn't it? That is actually last in, first out. Right? And as I already told you, there are some operations on on these linear data structures. We have to insert the element, we have to delete the element, we have to like perform some operations, etc., etc. And whenever we are performing an insert operation on the stack, that operation is called as push. It simply means whenever you are inserting a new element into the stack, that operation is called as push. Means inserting an element onto the stack, we call that as push operation. And whenever you are removing something from the stack, it is called as pop operation. So push is simply inserting an operation onto the stack, and pop is simply deleting an element from the stack. And one more thing is, you are pushing and popping the elements from the stack one at a time. It is not like you are pushing the elements, several elements from the stack at once. Whenever you have to pop, or I can say push 3 elements from the stack, you have to push them one by one, or you have to pop them one by one. Simple. So pushing is simply what? Inserting an element onto the stack, and popping is simply, or I can say deletion is simply popping an element, or I can say deleting an element from the stack. And it always happens from only one end of the stack, and that is called as what? That is called as TOS, TOS stands for top of the stack. All the operations are performed from the top of the stack. TOS. Both push and pop are done from TOS. Means insertion and deletion happens only from a single end of the stack. We call that as TOS, means top of the stack. And stack has got tremendous uses in computer science. For example, if I will give an example of recursion, and it is a very common question asked in every exam, or I can say most of the interview questions. With which data structure is used for recursion? And you should simply say stack, because recursion is doing what? Function calls repeatedly. For example, can you simply give me what are the different algorithms, or I can say different programs, or common, I can say, not different, I will say common example of recursion. Can anyone tell me? Yes. You know about Fibonacci series, you know about factorial of a number. They are actually using what? Recursion, and recursion is making use of stack. I will demonstrate it in a detail. How do we use stacks for recursion? How do we use this stack for factorial of a number? They are actually using recursion calls, and we are making use of stack for that, because whatever we are using, we are doing it from the TOS, top of the stack. Then another data structure is queue, and this is called as one-ended. One more thing about stack is one-ended, means all the operations happen from a single end, right? Then another data structure is queue. And what is queue? Queue is also a linear data structure. And here for insertion and deletion, we have two ends. Means from one end insertion happens, and from another end deletion happens. And wherever, from whatever end the insertion happens, we call that as what? Yes. This, like this stack was first in last out, and the queue is first in first out. It is simply, for example, the ATM queue, or whatever, whenever you are going for paying the fee, or whenever you are going to withdraw some amount from the ATM, whosoever comes first, he will be getting the access of the ATM very first. Whosoever comes the last, he will be getting the access at the last. That is first come first queue, first come first serve, right? Or I can say first come first out. Whosoever is coming first in the queue, he is going out for the first. The ATM queue, very simple. Or any queue wherever you are standing. Okay. Here, as I already told you, insertion happens at one end and deletion happens at the another end. Wherever insertion happens, we call that as NQ, and from wherever the deletion happens, we call that as DQ. And this insertion happens, or I can say the end, from where the insertion happens, we call that as the rear of the queue. And from wherever this deletion occurs in a queue, we call that as what? DQ. DQ stands from deleting from a queue, and NQ stands from inserting into a queue. Insertion happens from the rear of the queue, because you can imagine a simple an ATM line. Whenever a new person comes, from where he is coming? He is coming to the rear end, at the last. So insertion happens at the last. And from where deletion happens? Deletion happens at the front, because whosoever is completing the transaction, he is going out of the queue. So insertion happens at the back of the queue, we call that as the rear end, and deletion happens at the front of the queue, we call that as the front end. So when inserting an element into a queue, we call that as NQ, and whenever we are deleting an element from the queue, we call that as a DQ. So queue is actually what? First in, first out, or I can say the first come, first serve basis. So this was something about linear data structures. So we'll be continuing tomorrow with non-linear data structures. We'll get brief introduction of non-linear data structures like trees and graphs. Then we'll be going with further topics. If you have any questions, just paste your questions within 1 minute. I will try to answer those. Then we will wind up the session. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Yeah, there is one more operation that we'll discuss. Actually, if we go in a generalized way, we have only two operations. In a generalized way, we call that as push and pop. Yes, anything else? See, actually, this peep is, it is not actually this removing the element. Peep is simply returning the third, this now I can say top of the stack, top of the element, top element of the stack. It is not whenever we say push is simply we have the element, we put it into the stack. Pop means we have the element, we move it out of the stack. But when we say peep is actually simply returning the element or returning the element without removing it from the top of the stack. It is whatever is at the top of the stack, we are returning it but not removing it. Yes. Okay, why does the array index start with 0? See, if we go deep into the detail of this index, I can tell you, you might have studied a base address in the computer, this now operating system. And you might be knowing about offset. Actually, whenever you have to calculate the memory address, or I can say memory location of a particular element, at that time we require offset, or I can say the base address. So in order to calculate this, I can say this the location of a particular element. So at that time offset is required, or I can say base address is required. And as far as as I am knowing it, it is because of this reason. In order to calculate this actual memory location of an element, the index starts from 0. Yes. Hope it is clear. Anything else? Anything else you want to ask? Okay. Okay, thank you so much. If you have any questions, just prepare your questions, ask in the next lecture. We'll come with the answers. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, thank you, sir. So, dear participants, I already shared that attendance link in the chat box. I believe that everybody marked. If not, I'm sharing that once again. So please mark your attendance. Thank you so much for joining the table. And we'll see you on tomorrow at same time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night. Take care of yourself and take care of your family.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir.